just start by introducing myself. My name is Tenna Soerensen Jochumsen. I'm originally from Denmark, but currently living in Brussels, in Belgium, where I'm working with the Center for European Volunteering, CV, we call it for short, as project officer. I've been working here since the beginning of the year. And one of my main tasks is to coordinate our project on how to measure volunteering impact. So that is the project that I'm going to talk about today, and some of the results and findings that we have come to. Just to very shortly introduce CEV, Center for European Volunteering. We are a European NGO and a network of 60 organizations across Europe, all of them working, of course, with volunteering. This is our main focus. I'm coming from a total of 27 countries. We are dedicated to the promotion of volunteering and supporting volunteers and volunteering organizations in Europe, both on European level, but also national and regional level. Everything we do is about volunteering, of course, from our projects within different topics, ranging from this one that is focusing on how to measure the impact of volunteering. We also have other ones in service learning, focusing on loneliness. So really a big spectrum of different topics. Other than that, we also do a lot of advocacy and policy work, including focusing on the ESC. So that's just very shortly for you to have a little background about us. But yeah, I will be sharing some links afterwards so that you can also find more information on our website if you are interested. So today I'm going to talk about the Project Volunteering Impact Measurement Training in Europe, also called V-CALC. Just to give a little brief introduction, it's a project funded under the Erasmus Plus program. It's a 2-year project. It started in March 2023 and it will end in February next year. So we're almost coming to an end, but we're also working very hard to have the final touches. And of course, also the things that we are doing will continue afterwards, ensuring the sustainability of the project. We are 6 partners coming from 5 different countries. So United Kingdom, Spain, Croatia, Albania, and Belgium, 2 partners in Belgium. And the aims and objectives of the project is that when it was written based on an identified lack of available methods to use to measure the impact of volunteering. What we want to do is that we want to enable the number we have set is 800 volunteer managers and coordinators, so the people working directly with the volunteers of all ages and diversity, to measure and understand the impact of their volunteers. So what we have done during these almost 2 years is that we have developed a methodology to gather the data about numbers and profiles, motivation, and impact of volunteers. That methodology we have transformed into an online platform that I will be showing you also a bit more in detail in a few minutes. Then right now, since April this year, and we are still ongoing with our training sessions for volunteer managers and coordinators. I will also be sharing a bit more with you and how to register in case you're interested. And then, of course, we have been focusing on also ensuring that the project results are sustainable. We have had a community of practitioners from across Europe and also policy document. So from the beginning of the project, of course, as mentioned, the reason why we created this project is because we identified a lack of a universal and standardized way to measure volunteering and impact. So in parallel with this, we have with the project, we have also created some national volunteering fact sheets. It's still something that is ongoing. It's part of the project, but also CV's work in general. And the main purpose of this is to understand the volunteering landscape in Europe. We have now 10 countries that have been involved in creating these fact sheets. You will see an example on the right side of the screen. And what are the objective of creating these fact sheets is to build a comparable and comprehensive understanding of volunteering across Europe. and for this to serve as a source, like a valuable source for policymakers, researchers, organizations, and individuals, so that they can better understand what is the landscape of volunteering. And also, of course, to have it as evidence-based data and material that these stakeholders can use. From the national volunteering fact sheets that we have collected so far, I mentioned that we have 10 countries. We have also 2 other countries that are currently interested in contributing. This is Sweden and Portugal. Of course, if any of you would be interested, we are very happy to receive your contribution as well. So you can always write in the chat. But some of the findings that we have found from collecting these fact sheets are that in general, from the countries that have been contributing, we see that there are requirements from the donors, from the organizations, and from society in general that we measure the impact of volunteering. At the same time, most of the organizations that deliver these fact sheets still experience this lack of standardized methods, and especially difficulties in finding suitable methods and tools. So in this case, some of the national volunteer centers have developed their own tools and methods. For example, in Croatia, one of our member organizations are the National Volunteer Platform that has come up with their own tools and methods. Others have said that they measure both economic and non-economic contributions, but in many of these cases, they are challenged because they have access only to partial data, and not the complete overview. Other organizations in this case, this was from the Danish example, is that they use theory of change and performance management systems or logic. So different kind of ways to measure, but no, how do you say, standardized and complete way of doing. So moving on to our outputs, of course, this is something that we are seeking to achieve. Of course, as some of you can probably imagine, or most of you can imagine, it's quite the mission impossible, because of course it takes time to come up with the perfect solution. As mentioned, we have 4 different outputs. We have the volunteering impact measurement methodology. I will not go that much into detail with it, because then I will be taking the rest of this hour. But in the beginning of the project, we had partners creating this methodology based on a theory of change, and also with the how do you say, with the findings through the theory of change going into an outline framework. We have newsletters about this also on our website. So in case you're interested in hearing more on how we have built the platform that I will show you very shortly, please feel free to find it on our website. Then we have created the online platform. It's important to say that it's an ongoing process. Even right now, we have developers still working on it. So of course, all the time we are looking to improve it and optimize the different parts. So if you also find it useful, but maybe find some feedback to even make it better, please also let me know. Then the trainings that are going on, we will have trainings until the end of the year. I will be sharing also with you the invitation link. And of course, we are doing a CV advocacy and policy work around volunteering impact measurement in Europe. So this is one project, but it's also part of our strategy to work around this topic for the upcoming years. So a little bit about the platform. This is what I will be focusing on today. It has different functions. There's an impact report that everyone, even if you don't subscribe to the platform, can go and download. It has indicators around individual improvement impact, community empowerment impact, societal strengthening impact, and environmental protection impact. I will show you more in a second. Then volunteers can subscribe to the platform, and volunteer organizations can subscribe. Of course, it's important to say, as you can also see on the photo, that it's a beta version. So again, we're constantly developing it. It's available right now in English, Spanish, French, Albanian, and Croatian languages, because this is the languages of the partners. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for 2 seconds, and then I will share from the platform. Okay, so I hope that you can see my screen now for the platform. This is the home page. So as you can see, we have the menu in the top here. We have the different languages. If we click over here, log in, and then a menu over here. I will just show you shortly the home page. Feel free to write down your questions, and I can answer them later. But a bit of information here, and in the bottom we have the impact report. I will come back to the impact report because I think it makes more sense if I go through some other steps before. So these are the partners, and yeah, this is the home page. So if we log in, now you will see this is an example of an account that I have created. So it's not all necessarily CV's information, but more to give you an overview. So in the menu in the right side, we have home, my profile, my impact, program form, activity form, and log out. It's important to say that right now I'm logged in as organization. So if I go to my profile, I have, like, when you create an account, you need to fill out different information. So what is the name of the organization, the email, password, information about your employees, volunteers, some financial information, country, then about fundraising and membership, objectives, and this. So this is in general to have some more information about the organization. Then we can create the account, and then I will skip the My Impact part and come back to it later. But each organization can then create or how do you say input the different programs of volunteering. So in this case, it could be the European Solidarity Corps. That would be the best example, I think, in terms of the topic of the webinar today. So if an organization is having the European, is involved in the European Solidarity Corps, that could be one program. Then to fill out these different sections, so I already did that yesterday to prepare. And then to go to the activity form. So the activity is activities under the program. So in this case, I already created it yesterday, but it could be a festival that then is under the European Solidarity Corps. And then to input, in this case, we have non-registered volunteer hours, because also we are taking into account that not necessarily all the volunteers that are connected to an organization's activity might be subscribing to this platform. So this is for the organization to input. Different informations related to the SDGs, the final beneficiaries, skills that the organization believes that the volunteers will gain through this action, and environmental considerations. So coming back, if the organization goes to My Impact, in the end, the organization will then have all the programs, activities, the volunteers, so in this case, I am the example, SDGs impacted, that it has engaged through the activities. I'm now going to log out and then show you from the volunteer aspect. Please let me know if I'm taking too much time, and then I will try to go really fast through it. So from the volunteer aspect, it's quite similar. The volunteer needs to create their profile. So there are different questions again. In this case, I have just made an example. Of course, anytime the person can stop volunteering. I don't know, but if they necessarily stop volunteering, but at least stop being connected to this platform. Again, I will come back to my impact, but the volunteer can then go and add the activity to the platform. So in this case, they will find the organization that they are connected to, the program, for example, European Solidarity Corps, and then the activity under that program that they have participated in. Then they will find the first date and the task type. So that can be very different. And so this is something that the volunteer will do before they join the activity or before they start the activity. And then afterwards, they will go to the activity completion form and input, again, the organization, the program activity, and how many hours they spend. And in this case, also, we have the space for a bit more qualitative data to write the experience. Then under my impact for the volunteer, they can see what activities they have been included in, which organizations they have volunteered for, the skills that they supposedly have acquired through their volunteering, and the SDGs impacted. So it's very important to say that, of course, this gives a space both for the organizations and the volunteers in which they can find indicators of the volunteering that the volunteers have been doing, but in the case of the organizations, that their volunteer programs have been doing. That the platform is describing or contextualizing the impact of the volunteer involvement that needs to be done by the organization. So it will give some indicators that the organizations will be contextualizing into the impact of their volunteer programs. Finally, before coming back to the other part, I just wanted to show you also this part with the impact report. So there are the 4 different, let's say, aspects that we have been mentioning. It doesn't say that it's only limited to this. This is simply how we have done so far. It allows a person to select a period. So we have done quarters. We are also discussing among the partners if it can be yearly or monthly. So this is something we are continuously working on. And then it allows the person to download the report. Now, so we have these training sessions going on. It's 2 hour long sessions. It's interactive. They're practical exercises so that if you're interested, you can learn more about the platform, how to use it. It's conducted in English and it's online. And it's open to volunteer managers and coordinators, both from the EU, but also non-EU countries. It's open both if you're a seasoned volunteer manager, but also if you're new to volunteer management. I have a QR code in which you can find the invitation with the next upcoming dates, but you will also receive that in a link in the chat very shortly. I think this is all from me. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.